Hello everyone! Once again, this is Teacher Maria Cristina M. Ariola, your today's facilitator. I am going to discuss with you about getting the confidence interval of the sample mean. So just sit down and relax and enjoy learning. For the formula of confidence interval, we have this notation. Ito ang susundin nating formula para makuha natin ang hinahanap nating confidence interval. But before that, what do we mean by confidence interval? This is the process of estimating the value of a parameter from information obtained from a sample. It is the interval estimate of values used to estimate the parameter. Tinutukoy nito ang boundary ng hawak nating data, kung saang value mag-start at hanggang saang value matatapos. Para makuha natin ang confidence interval, need natin ang confidence level. Confidence level has its corresponding coefficient, and this coefficient is used to find the margin of error. Ito ang t-distribution table. Sa bandang baba nito, dito natin makikita ang confidence level. Ito yung naka-percent form. At sa tapat nito sa itaas ay ang confidence coefficient o ang kanyang corresponding value. Halimbawa, the desired confidence level is 80%. Ating i-shade ang 80%. Then, makikita natin sa katapat nito sa itaas ang 1.282. Ito ang tinatawag na confidence coefficient. Ito yung kasama sa formula ng confidence interval na siya nating gagamitin. Kung halimbawa, ang desired confidence level naman ay 90%, ano naman ang confidence coefficient? So, hanapin natin sa ibaba ang 90% at ang katapat ng value ay 1.645 para sa 90% confidence level. So, alam na ba class kung paano ang pagkuha ng confidence coefficient? Saan naman sa formula natin ilalagay ang nakuha nating confidence coefficient? So, dito sa Z sub A over 2, ang tawag sa symbol na yan ay confidence coefficient. So, yung nakuha nating value from the table ay i-replace natin sa ating formula. Meron tayong tinatawag sa formula na margin of error. So, from Z sub A over 2 multiplied by our sigma or the standard deviation divided by the square root of n, ito yung tinatawag na margin of error. It consists of the confidence coefficient Z sub A over 2 times the quantity of the quotient of the standard deviation over the square root of n. Going back to the formula in notation, naka-circle green ang margin of error sa kaliwa, ganun din sa kanan. Ang x-bar is the sample mean sa kaliwa, ganun din sa kanan. At kung mapapansin nyo, dito sa kaliwa ay minus. Ang ibig sabihin, we will subtract the margin of error sa ating sample mean. At dito naman sa kanan ay plus sign. So, ang ibig sabihin, we will add the margin of error sa ating sample mean. Then, the result of subtraction is our lower limit, and then the result of addition is the upper limit. So, kung babasahin natin ito, starting sa center, confidence interval would be the population mean is greater than the lower limit but less than the upper limit. Okay, let us have our first example. A study of 50 Mobile Legends players showed that their average points were 24. The standard deviation of the population is 5. Find the 95% confidence interval of the mean score for all Mobile Legends players. So we will use the formula notation. And then the first thing to do is to list down all the given data. First, we have the sample mean. So the sample mean is equal to 24. So the keyword here, class, is the word average. And then the standard deviation, which is equal to 5. And then the Z sub A over 2, since the desired confidence level is 95%, using the T-table, we can get 1.96, which is the confidence coefficient. And then the sample size, or N, is equal to 50. Then after listing down the given data, first thing to do is to compute for the margin of error. So we have Z sub A over 2 times the quantity of SD over the square root of N. So the solution for E, which is the error, is 1.96 times the quantity of 5 over the square root of 50. So saan natin sisimulang isolve yan? Siyempre, magsisimula tayo sa ibaba, no? Kunin muna natin ang square root ng 50 bago tayo mag-divide. So, the square root of 50 is 7.07 and then divide 5 divided by 7.07 is equal to 0.707. Then, after division, we can now multiply the result by 1.96. So, ang kinalabasan niyan is 1.39. This is now the margin of error. So, what are we going to do next? We can now get the lower limit and upper limit. Remember na parehas lang yung mga value dito sa kaliwa at dun sa kanan. Kung ano yung margin of error dito sa kaliwa, ay siya din naman yung margin of error sa kanan. The same way with the sample mean. Kung ano yung nilagay mo na sample mean sa kaliwa, siya din yung sample mean na gagamitin mo dito sa kanan. Okay? So, to solve for the lower limit, you subtract x, our sample mean, minus the margin of error. And then for the upper limit, we have the sample mean plus the error or the margin of error. So for the solution, we have 24 as the sample mean minus 1.39, our margin of error. And then ganun din sa kabila, 24 plus 1.39. So meron tayong 22.61 as the lower limit and 25.39 as the upper limit. So therefore, the confidence interval would be 22.61 to 25.39. At kung yan naman ay babasahin mo, ang pagbasa ay from the center, we have the population mean should be greater than 22.61 but less than 25.39. Okay? Let us have our example number 2. A group of teachers wants to find out the math scores of senior high students at Electron College. They sample the score of 100 students. The mean score of the sample is 63 points out of 100, with a population standard deviation of 13 points. With a 95% confidence rate, find the mean math interval scores of all senior high students in the school. So we have the formula notation and then list down all the given data. The first data is the sample mean. What is the sample mean? Sample mean is 63, and then the sigma or the standard deviation is equal to 13. And then since the confidence rate is 95%, then we can get the value of 1.96 from our table, and then n is equal to 100. Okay, kung meron ka ng sample mean, meron ka ng standard deviation, meron ka ng confidence coefficient, at meron ka ng n, you can now compute the margin of error. Okay, so the formula would be z sub a over 2 times the quantity of the standard deviation divided by the square root of n. So replacing 1.96 in our formula, then replacing 13 in the sigma, and replacing 100 as the value of n. So, ulit, magsisimula tayo dun sa baba, no? Kunin muna natin ang square root na 100. So, the square root of 100 is 10. Then, 13 divided by 10 is equal to 1.3. And then, pwede na natin i-multiply kay 1.96. So, 1.96 times 1.3 is equal to 2.548. So, this will be now our margin of error. Okay, what are we going to do next? We can now get our lower limit and the upper limit. Okay, since we have a computed value for our margin of error, we can subtract this from our sample mean. And the same way, in the upper limit, the computed value of the margin of error will be added to our sample mean. So therefore, the sample mean, which is 63, minus 2.548, the margin of error, is equal to 60.452. So this is our lower limit. And for the upper limit, we have 63 plus 2.548 is equal to 65.548. Therefore, the confidence interval is 60.452 to 65.548. Or the population mean should be greater than 60.452 but should be less than 65.448. This will be our confidence interval. Okay, let us try our example number 2. A manager wishes to estimate the average number of hours his employees work on a field per week. The standard deviation is 3 hours. How large must a sample be selected if he wants to be 99% confidence level of finding the true mean that differs from the sample mean by 1 hour? Okay, so we derive the formula in the formula notation. So we have n, the sample size is missing. This is equal to the confidence coefficients times the standard deviation divided by the margin of error multiplied by itself. Okay, so let us list down the data. So we have the confidence coefficient. Since the confidence level is 99%, therefore the corresponding value is 2.58. And then our sigma, the standard deviation, is equal to 3 hours. And then what else? The error, which is equal to 1. Okay, and the missing value is n. Okay, kapag meron ka ng confidence coefficient, meron ka ng margin of error, and the standard deviation, then you can look for the sample size, which is the mean. So replacing the value in the formula, we have the confidence coefficient, which is equal to 2.58 multiplied by 3, then divided by 1. Then multiply by itself, no? Meron siya quantity square. So the result is 59.91 or 60 is the sample size. Okay? Okay, let us proceed to our last example. Suppose you do not know the mean age of your Facebook friends, but you know that the standard deviation of the ages is 3.25 years. And if you want to be 90% confident in finding the mean age of your FB friends by a maximum error of 0.5 years, how large should your sample be? No? So we are looking for the n again. So we are looking for the sample size, no? Given the following data. So the formula to be used, similar with number 3, n is equal to z sub a over 2, which is the confidence coefficient, times the sigma, the standard deviation, divided by the e, which is the margin of error, multiplied by itself. No? Meron siyang quantity square. So what are the given facts? So z sub a over 2 is the confidence coefficient. So since the desired of the confidence level is 90% and the corresponding value is 1.645, and the sigma is equal to 3.25 years, and then the e is equal to what? The e maximum error of 0.5 years. Okay, then we are looking for the value of n or the sample size. So following the formula, we have n is equal to the confidence coefficient, which is equal to 1.645 times the sigma, which is equal to 3.25, divided by the error. The margin of error is 0.5. Quantity square. So multiply first 1.645 times 3.25. Then the product will be divided by 0.5. Then square. So the result is equal to 140. So this is the sample size that we are looking for. Okay? So I guess you are now ready for activity 4.1. Apat ito class na problem solving. Show your complete solution. Okay? So here is our number 2. So here is our number 3. And then here is our number 4. And of course, no, do not forget to like and subscribe our channel, TLC Math Made Easy. Thank you for listening.